if you could smell a fart, if the fart has come through your butt cheeks, through your drawers, through your jeans, and it can
See,
still
Miss Me.
hit your nose, these masks ain't doing nothing. And you know how many times I've smelled things through my mask? I said, I got hit, y'all.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Jules, where I have real conversations with real people in real life. And before we do anything, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It is right below. Make sure you comment, like, and more importantly, share, because sharing is caring. Today, I'm sitting down with a good friend of mine. Her name is Jasmine Poole. She is amazing. I'm just going to list some of her accolades. Besides her being a nurse, a full-time nurse at that, she is raising a son on the autism spectrum. He is nonverbal. She has started her own foundation for her son. She is an advocate for her son. And on top of all of that, she just got her master's. So I don't even know how she does that, but she got her master's in May. I mean, let's just give a round of applause for Jasmine real fast.
You know, I always kind of I always feel like you don't have to do that part. Like all the time.
We do. And she's an author. She's a published children's book author. Like all of this. And she's only 10. Like, come on, guys. Give her a round of applause.
Oh man, thank you for that introduction, Julie. Thank you.
You are welcome. So as I mentioned, she's a full-time nurse, so she's working in this pandemic and through all of this, but we're not really here to talk about the pandemic because the pandemic is what it is. And I honestly feel like we're not going to be out of the pandemic until 2025 when they have a vaccine, because it's going to take a while for the vaccine to actually take effect. If you have more questions, you can hit her up on her Instagram if she can give you all those answers. Since we're out of school and I know school is ending regardless, I really want to just ask you, how are you coping in this situation? Because your son is special needs, and I worked with children with autism. I said in the previous interview with one of my friends that I worked at the Center for Autism, where I did early intervention for children 2.5 to 6. So I know about the behavioral support. I know about all the therapies offered, and right now that's not an option. How are you coping? And what are you doing to cope?
And coping, that has been the word of not even just the month, but the year. Mm-hmm. It's fluid. Some days we are up and some days we are down, for sure. Right before the pandemic hit, we were actually in transition. My son is nonverbal, so he uses a communication device to speak. In January, his communication device went kaplunk. Like it started doing some crazy technology glitches. It was not corresponding to the buttons he was pushing. And so he was up for a new device and a new system, being evaluated for a new system that would actually work with his current status of communication, because in complete honesty, the communication device that he had was working, but it wasn't working to his best potential. So in that process, when you want to get insurance involved and paying for anything, there's a lot of data that needs to be taken. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And so he was getting evaluated for a new device. And with that, like I said, they were tracking data, doing all the necessary steps, having all the set process meetings, and the like. Now, COVID hit, so that means there is no data tracking. We were working with, he had a loaner at the school, so of course the loaner only is supposed to stay at the school for liability purposes. And so we kind of reset, we regressed, we went back, because now we don't have the same option as far as communication. and we had to scale back to low tech devices, which means picture exchange communication system, aka pictures on a laminated paper or whatever, with different items, maybe stick figures, maybe actual items that you took pictures of, and having him use that to communicate. There are no sentences. There's no sentence structure that he's using. There is no way of him being like, I need to tell my mom something, so let me actually tell her on this device, let me comment on whatever she's saying. Now we're back to stage 1, which my son's 11. So that took a very hard hit, because now I'm thinking, my son is 11, we're transitioning into like this pre-puberty / puberty stage, and that in itself is going to come with a lot of changes in his body that he won't be able to communicate with me properly. So that's going to lead to more meltdowns. And in addition, we did have school all day, Monday through Friday. And then we had outside services. So right after school, we'd take him to therapy. We had just started swim classes, and there was that whole thing. So we went from all of that to nothing, not saying nothing. Let me not say nothing, because everything, went to virtual.
Yeah, which
more anxiety, more overload of information and stress, and kind of feeling like I was supported with the team, and now I am the team, and everybody's just telling me what to do instead of helping me. So I have no support in my home, yet you want me to place my phone or my computer across the room so you can see what we're doing. You can guide me through the process. No, that doesn't help, because a lot of the time in the school, you're not even working one-on-one with him. You're depending on the team. You're depending on an exchange, which means you have to have a person that's helping Reese to understand how to communicate, and then another person to exchange the communication. So there is no dual process here. It's all on me. Now I am his mom, his teacher, all of his therapists, which speak, PT, OT, the chef, the gym teacher, the art teacher, the music teacher. And on top of that, I still have to care for myself, right?
I'm stressed just thinking about it. I'm like stressed and sweating, like thinking about it.
And I work night shift. So everybody's like, where's his dad? We co-parent. I'm able to do homeschool Monday through Thursday, and then I'm working Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, unless it's a weekend of mine, and then I have to do Thursday through Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, 12-hour shifts. Sunday's like my regroup day, and then with Reese later on in that evening, and then start again Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
How are you doing this?
Yeah, so let me get back to the homeschool part. I realize that I'm only one person. So I have to have and give myself grace. I had to understand that, one, during a normal, typical school day, Reese is not sitting at a desk for the entire time. At most, he's getting maybe 2 solid hours of instruction throughout the day. Like, you have to factor in arriving at the school, circle time, transitions in the hallways, bathroom, art, gym, his actual therapies within the school. And then you have your sit down structures. You have your reading, your writing, all of that. And then you have recess, and then you have lunch. You have all of that happening throughout the day. And for real, he's only getting like 2 hours, like 2.5 hours. And so I was like, okay, he's getting that much time. Okay, I can do that. He's not going to sit for more than 15, 20 minutes. So let me break it up. 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. And when I do it that way, okay, that's 2 hours, that's 8 15-minute sit downs. Or doing that or pairing with actual life skills. Okay, I want to work on his writing. Let me make it fun. He wants the snack up in the cabinet, and he also needs to communicate with me. Let's see if we can write it on the dry erase board. That way we're working at the same time, requesting, getting a reward, and then understanding that this word means this. Okay. Mm-hmm. Risa also loves hide and go seek. So we would like hide activities around the house, or like, hey, repeat after me, do this, and then we'll do hide and go seek. So it becomes fun, and he doesn't even realize he's learning. So there's that part. There is all of that. But then I had to focus on myself. Mm-hmm. Make sure that I was doing what I was supposed to and pouring into myself, so that I was able to pour into him. Because when I'm tired, when I'm not doing anything for myself first, I have nothing to pour out for my child. And that's going to be met with pent up aggression, me just being upset and carrying and taking it out on him, and he not even understanding why, him being afraid of me for that reason. And that's going to be met with more aggression. That's going to be met with like, I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. Or, Mom, this is hard. Like, I'm scared of you right now. I don't want to do this. So I had to be mindful that I have to really, really do that. So I started making sure that I meditated. I had to make sure that I journal, just to get any expression and feelings out. And I do yoga more often now. So that's been really helpful. And then once he goes to sleep, like just doing something else that's small for me, whether it's reading a book, whether it's getting him in a bubble, not a bubble bath because I can't handle bubble baths, but a nice warm shower, bath, or whatever.
Or having a conversation with me.
Whatever. But just trying to do that. And then also talking with my friends, with people who will be able to understand. I had to start asking for permission to actually unload on people now, because we're all going through this thing. So I don't want to burden anybody with what I got to say or how I feel, because chances are they got to pour into themselves too. So asking for permission, holding my support groups for moms just like me. And that has been what has been getting me by. And sometimes I just have to turn social media off. I have to turn the news off. I have to just kind of just be like, you know what? I'm muted. I also appreciate what I have gained out of this experience with being an advocate for Reese means that I have to know what he needs. Mm-hmm. And because he's ever growing, I feel that I kind of fell away from really seeing him, because our schedule was, the way our schedule was, it didn't allow us to breathe with each other, if you get that part. And so now we have so much more time together, not saying that we didn't have a lot of time before, but now we have even more time together, and I can see all the things that I may either have missed, or all the things that are changing, which allows for me to advocate for him more. So I appreciate that. And I'm kind of like, okay, Corona, catalyst for change. I didn't need to slow down. I did.
Yes.
Like, as far as regression is concerned, we have regressed in areas, and I'm like, all right, well, we got to get back on the train, but not being too hard on myself. Toileting is one of the things that we regress with. And so I would wake up to like poop in the middle of my hallway floor, or like if I was downstairs trying to make a meal, he would be upstairs in my room, and I would I tried, making my bed, like I'm trying to be all types of like, let me get my day started and make my bed when I get up in the morning, hey, child, he'd be in that room, in my room, taking off the comforter, the sheets, the mattress pad, and poop all on the mattress, and then poop on the floor by the window, stepping in the poop, walking over my sheets. And I'm just like, no, this ain't it. Why do you hate me?
Right.
I think that was in the beginning where I was like rage stressed, like, like I don't want to do this, I can't do this. Next week I'll be better.
Yeah.
Out like, why do you hate me? It's been I've been more gracious with myself, and we've like been progressing along. We haven't had those moments, but from the beginning, I know which way.
Because like you said, this is also a transition for him as well, because he doesn't really concept like what's going on and why I'm not in school and why mommy's always here and why mommy is the teacher and why mommy is like doing therapy. So that's probably him like trying to process it in his way, like what's going on. I don't know what's going on, so let me figure it out. So it takes time to get to that, and you're doing wonderful.
They don't.
What'd you say?
Zoom sessions don't work for us. These virtual classroom things do not work. One, Reese isn't really fond of his teacher. I'm gonna just put that out there. So hearing her voice through the screen.
Tell the truth about it.
You know, she's a teacher. Like, teachers make you do work, whatever. But he's like, oh no, I'm not going to sit in front of that computer screen with that lady. Like, I just
can't. Like,
yeah, like, no, that, and I'm going to flip the computer shut because I don't want to see you. So there's that. And then just him trying to work with the computer. You know, I had to transition it to the iPad because it's, you know, it's touchscreen. You know, there's certain skills that he was still working on, fine motor skills. So him sitting at a computer, navigating the mouse pad and not the mouse, or, you know, because he never really navigated the mouse either, but trying to navigate with keys and all of that, it wasn't in his repertoire of skills. And so I was kind of upset because the teacher would have this virtual platform, and then she had, you know, the one with her, but then also other ones, you know, these systems where she would assign work and be like, work at your own pace, you know, whatever you could do. And I'm like, that doesn't set the tone. That doesn't show that you really care about his learning. And so that was another break that I had as well, because it's almost like I am relieved of my teaching duties, and I'm just going to pass it on over to you. Like, so it's like, well, this was a waste. This was a waste of a year.
Right. And then, like, as a teacher, she should kind of have a feel of the student's skill level. And for it to be on the computer, you want them to type something, you should know the skill level of these children.
Let me tell you something. There are teachers, and then there are teachers. And you see who's dedicated and who has a love for the children and for learning and for helping. And you see those who are just like, not my problem. And I think that's a very hard part in all of this, is because there are teachers who care and there's teachers that don't. And then you're expecting the parents to pick up the slack, which is not fair. But with special needs education, you know that school doesn't end in June. There is extended school year.
Yeah.
So they are trying to figure out what they're doing for extended school year, which would require Reese to be on the computer for virtual learning again, Monday and Thursday. And I don't see that happening.
Right, it's not possible.
It's not possible. However, we still have to try and record the data as far as a law and special education perspective, just so that we can get replacement services or catch up on services when outside and schools open back up. So that puts extra strain, because I really just want to be like, oh, we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth our energy or time, but because we have to prove it, I have to put our best foot forward and try.
And this is why you started your foundation, to be that voice and to advocate and be that person that Reese needs. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, you are his mother. You are going to be his voice because he doesn't really have one on his own. So it's like, you have to speak up. Like you were saying, like, you're discovering now, being that you're home with him more, that you're seeing all the things that you may have missed or that you could work on that could be better. So since I'm talking about your foundation, why don't you give the people more what your foundation withholds and stands for?
was about to say something else too, like, cause you just was like, hear his voice, like, and I was just about to.
We can go there. Go. Don't bring it back. Go.
No, I'll get back to that. But my foundation is the Maurice Fresh Foundation, based off of my son. My son's name is Maurice Rush. We call him Reese. And our foundation is meant to, our mission is to fulfill a goal to fuel constant encouragement and empowerment to those going through the same journey who are connected to individuals with autism. I've been in Africa hosting workshops to talk about autism and autism inclusion, to help them over there because they're starting from the bottom. And just, this thing is worldwide. It's not just, this country. It just affects everyone, everybody. But I started this foundation because my son was hit with this, and I know how much it is needed to be connected and to be supported and to be fueled and empowered, because your child can receive all the services in the world. They can qualify for anything. But if the parent is not okay, if the parent is not supported, if the parent is like, this is too much and I'm about to walk off the ledge because I can't handle it, the child does not benefit at all. So a lot of it is targeted, like I said, to, those connected to autism, but it's more so like the source at the top, the individuals who are connected to it, because they have to go through it. They have to grow through it as well. And those connections matter. We just want to strengthen those connections. But I was going to say also, my child, in advocating for him and talking and telling his story and telling our story and our journey, it's been ever present that I've always had a fear. One, he has autism and he's nonverbal, right? And my fear was always like, I can't die before you. Like, I can't leave you here in this world. Like, happen. Like, who's going to take care of you? Like, we have to strengthen everything that we can do. I have to do every single thing for you because I don't know what's going to happen when I go. And I don't really trust this world to support you. On top of that, you see my skin color. I am an African American woman, exactly. And my son is an African American boy, aka a Black boy. And so there's already the stigma behind Black men, Black boys. And so my fear was double. My son has autism, he's nonverbal, and I don't know what the future holds for him. And then my son is Black, and I don't know what the future holds for my son. And now the whole coronavirus had us stuck in the house, on high alert, high stress, routines have already changed. And now we have this uprising and riots feel because of so many events happening. And with the final straw being George Floyd, causing so much to happen in this last week alone. The tragedy surrounding his death hit me so hard, because it not only sparked that fear again, but now I am afraid for so many more reasons. If he has a meltdown, if he has a fit and, I can't handle him and we go out into the world, what that uncontrolled behavior, that meltdown, what would happen to him? And that scares me. Am I going to lose my son to a system and have him institutionalized? Am I going to lose my son to a gunshot? Am I going to lose my son to something that I cannot control? That I can't tell you how excited I was when I was pregnant and I found out I was having a son, but also how horrified I was when I found out I was pregnant with a Black child, with a Black male. Mm-hmm. And part of that also stemmed from just knowing so many Black men, or just knowing, just even the part about naming my child. What am I going to name my son? Oh, don't give him a ghetto Black name because then he won't get a job. Give him a white name. Mm-hmm. Why do we have to settle? Why do we have to diminish our culture at all? I mean, if you someone who is Russian, or you see someone who has, a heritage somewhere else, you can identify them by their culture, their heritage, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yet when it comes to a Black family, it's almost like, we already know who this person is. And that's not fair. That is not fair. In any account, the conversations need to happen, but also change needs to happen. I do not want it to be a fad to be mad at this and then it's forgotten and it continues to happen. Like, we need real change. We need people to actually respond instead of just reacting. And where does that start? How does that start? Unfortunately, I am afraid. I'm just afraid, I'm trying to cast all my cares on God right now. And that's the only way we can get through.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Conversations with Jules. If you have not subscribed, now is the time. The subscribe button is right below. Make sure you click it. Make sure you like, you comment, and more importantly, share. I want to thank Jasmine for sitting down with me today and having the conversation that we had. It was everything, girl. Thank you so much. And your foundation is the Maurice Fresh Foundation. You have an Instagram, you have a Facebook, you have a website. What else can they do for you? Like, how can they donate? How can they get in connection with you? How does all that work?
Listen, you get on mrushfoundation.org and hit that donate button. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, MRush Foundation, and even my personal page at jazz.poole IG. You can always look a sister up on there too.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, hit that comment below. We'll try to get those answered for you. And that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you.